Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to our virtual class. Today we'll be working on our single stick fundamentals. Let's get started. Alright guys, let's go ahead and bow in. Remember, the stick represents anything of equal length. Ideally, when you train with me, we treat this as an edged weapon, okay? The stick is just for practicing. So one of the ways to grip it is a fist away. This is more of the Lacoste Inosanto style. If you're doing Pekiti Tirsia or you want to practice it Pekiti Tirsia style without an puño, this is the way you hold it, okay? So I go between the both. I use it however is useful for me, if that makes any sense. All right, so let's go through 1 through 7. My numbering system, 1 through 7. Okay, so you're in your fighting stance, hands on your chest. Okay, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, if you lateral step with that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and thrust. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so it's very important that you take your time, make sure the lines are nice and straight. That's very key. When you do the number 1, the lines have to be straight. If they're wobbling, okay, or if they're going off in a direction, that's no good. You want to try to have, what we used to do is we used to take a piece of tape, put it on the wall or the mirror, okay, and we'd follow the stick along the line. So keep that in mind when you're doing your training. That's what's so great about solo training is that you can put that piece of tape on the wall, have all 1, 2, 3, 4, and then slide, even one going vertical, and then in the center of those slashes you can do the thrusts. You can also do thrusts at every single end of that diagram. Okay, that's pretty typical. Okay, my numbering system, it is just one of the numbering systems that you will learn from me. A numbering system is just a routine set of patterns. The idea is to eventually break away from those patterns so that you're able to adapt to any line of attack that comes at you. Okay, that's called line familiarization, to be able to get used to different lines of attack. But you have to start somewhere. So you first learn how to attack with those lines, then you learn how to deal with those different tactical lines by understanding and learning body mechanics. That's key. Okay, just remember that is key. So keep that in mind when you're doing your training. That's why we have to perfect our lines. That's why we need to look in the mirror when we do practice our 1 through 7, so that we can get used to seeing visually what it looks like when somebody attacks us with a number, with an angle 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever angle it is. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do some exercises first to get started. Okay, one of the things that I try to tell my students is the first thing you should do when you do Kali with the stick is to warm up your joints. You should do any type of martial art training. You should be paying attention and doing a warm up. I always think of it as like you have gears. Every joint in your body is a gear. So in Japanese martial arts, you'll see in Korean martial arts, all the different martial arts around the world, most people warm up and they do wrists and every joint gets warmed up, the neck, so you're gonna go ahead and do that. Make sure you do that. So we'll do like a little clip from in the school of warming up. Okay, so now what you could do is you can also warm up with your stick. So you could take, for instance, 2 double sticks, okay, and you could do this direction, okay. You could do it in a circle direction like this, okay. You can do your stretches. So here's a stretch here, and then you do it the other way. There's a stretch here. You do the same thing on this side. Stretch, hold it for 30 seconds, and you stretch just like that, okay. There's many different ones you can do. You can even do ones where you grab with your back, and you grab and you pull up, and then you pull down, and those kind of stretch your shoulders out. Do the opposite on the other side, things like that. Those are ways to warm up. But then you do your numbering system, and then you would go into your work, okay? And so what my training has always been, I've always done redondos, abridicos, loptics, woodticks. Later on, you'll learn, you know, the kilot and all these different patterns that you mix several different things together. So we're going to start off by doing that. We're just doing single stick today, so you're going to go ahead and get in your fighting stance, okay? So the first one is you're just going to go here and you're going to go downward figure eight, back and forth, okay? You're just doing downward figure eight. Pay attention to where you're going. If you're looking at me while you're doing this, you should be cutting at my neck, just like I'm cutting at my neck right now, because I'm looking at the LCD screen to make sure, you know, to look at myself. So as you can see, I'm cutting at what I call the L line right here. This is the L line. It's like an L, makes an L. So I cut at that L and then I cut at the other L and I go back and forth, okay? Then you can go upward figure eight. So I'll usually do downward figure eight 100 times and then upward figure eight 100 times, okay? Those are kind of my, your basics. When you do that, you should also be using your body and rotating your feet at the same time. You see, if I go farther out, which I'll go kind of out of light a little bit, but you'll see that when I'm rotating up or downward figure eight, rotating, and I'll be rotating like this. This is what I call the outside rotation, okay? That's very important, all right? Keep that in mind. So we have downward figure eight, we have upward figure eight, okay? And then you can do, for instance, kilots, or so we'll slash 2 times this way, and then we'll slash 2 times that way. So we're going 1, 2, 3. See that? So I'll just go 1, 2, 3, and then I'll stay there. And I'll cut up 1, 2, 3, and I'll be on the top. I'll cut through 3 times, I'll be on the underneath. I cut 3 times, I'm up on top. This is a finishing move based on line familiarization of where the person's lines are open at, okay? So when I look at my opponent, I see that they're open on this line and they're open on that line, and so that's what I'll do, okay? Let's say I hit the hand on the first one, the hand's still there, and I'll just finish up like this, okay, 3 more times if that arm's still out there, or I'll step in and I'll cut into the body if that's what's open. So the first one we're going to do is downward figure eight. So we're just going to go downward figure eight. Make sure that you're rotating your body. Okay, if I move back here, as you can see, my feet rotate like this. I call this the outside rotation, okay, because my heels are moving to the outside. Okay, so here we go. You're going to start off downward figure eight. Okay, here we go. So we go out wide, a little bit high, then we come in thin. Okay, we go out, back out, a little bit harder attacks, then we go thin. Bring the fist up high. Okay, then more narrow attacks with the one. All right, so now we're going to do upward figure eight. So you're going to go upward. So you make sure that you're try to do the lines as best you can. Should be going up into the ribs, up to the neck, up from the rib, up to the neck, right to the L line. And you're just going back and forth. You see that? Back and forth, okay? So we go wide. Here we go. Let's get started. So we go a little bit wider. Okay, and then we go thinner. We go wider and thinner. Wider, thinner. Wider, thinner. Smaller upwards. Wider upwards or larger upwards, a little bit more power behind it. Okay, and then if we go, this is where we just go quick and we're going to dissect the hand, okay, or the leg. A limb is for the thinner ones usually, and then wider's for cutting through or cutting to the body, okay. We're gonna do cut throughs, okay, 3 loptic cut throughs, okay. So I'm gonna start off my weapons here, okay. I'm gonna pull through and come up and come back down again, and then I'm gonna end up underneath in chamber position. Notice how my hand is always on my chest, okay, because this is last resort. We don't want to deal with a weapon like this, okay, but sometimes we may be able to get to the hand or inside or to clinch. So when I go here, you see this? Okay. So I'm going to go slash up and down. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And so what it'll look like, just, okay, is this. We'll go here. See that? Okay. And that's a great follow through when you've hit the hand, okay, and you just follow up several times on the hand or move in onto the body where we're going here, okay? So same thing, we're gonna do some real long like this, and some we're gonna do small. You see that? Okay, okay. Now we're gonna go small, 1, 2, 3. So make sure that, notice how I'm turning my hand. Whatever direction my knuckles face is where the blade is. So we need to make sure that the blade is there. We also want to make sure that the blade is cutting straight. Okay, this has to do with the way you flick the wrist. See that? Okay. We need to make sure this part of the blade is cutting into the opponent's. Okay. So we go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Wide, small, small, wide, small. All right. Now what's going to happen is we're going to go to the other side. Okay. So this time we're going to go on this side. 1. So we'll go wide. Okay. Wide again. Okay. Small. Small. And then so when I go down low, look at where my stick is. It's down here. See that? They call this the low wagging tail in stick fighting. Okay. But we go here, we go wide, wide, small, small. Okay. Wide, wide, small, small, wide, wide, small, small, wide, wide, small, small. Okay, so that's the other side. You guys did a good job today. Keep up the good work. Practice this. Do this video several times. Okay, make sure that you spend time learning it and doing it and practicing it. Okay, so let's go ahead and bow out. All right. Thank you guys. You guys have a great day.